Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. My name is Sarah Marcus, and I have Tina Day joining me behind the scenes. We are with the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority Public Outreach Team. We also have our design manager, Scott Baskin from SBCTA's Project Construction Management Team joining us today. A couple of items we'd like to explain before we get underway with the presentation. Today, we will be discussing upcoming changes to the southbound Euclid Avenue and how motorists will enter the westbound I-10 at Euclid Avenue. Our webinar is being recorded and it will be posted on our website at gosbcta.com/I10 corridor for those who could not join us live today. As part of this webinar feature, your microphone is automatically muted and your cameras are automatically disabled. We will be using the Q&A function to answer your questions. Our team will provide written responses, and at the conclusion of the presentation, we will highlight and respond to key themes and topics from your questions. And finally, this is an informational meeting to educate you about this project. We believe all positions, positive or negative, related to SBCTA activities should have a voice in this process. However, we do expect that this will be done in a respectful manner. And SBCTA does reserve the right to monitor, filter, and remove content or participants that our team deems inappropriate. Okay, next slide, please. For those of you who may not be familiar with Zoom's platform, the Q&A box can be found at the bottom of your screen. You can simply click on where it says Q&A and a pop-up will appear on your screen where you can type in a question. We will respond to questions using this feature and address overall topics and themes at the end of our presentation. You may still see the chat feature button at the bottom of the screen. However, chats will only be directed to panelists and utilized to receive more information for questions that require further research. If you are joining us from a landline today and using the call-in option, please email your questions to info@gosbcta.com. Now let's get started. Next slide, please. The SB Express lanes in San Bernardino County will provide approximately 10 miles of express lanes along the I-10 in each direction, from the Los Angeles-San Bernardino County line to the I-15 interchange. Construction on this project broke ground in spring 2020. And as you can see here, we are currently replacing or widening 18 bridges throughout the corridor. 11 of these are currently underway. We are working on about 75,000 linear feet of retaining and sound walls at 13 locations throughout the corridor. And we are rehabilitating the main line from Haven to Etiwanda. Construction is anticipated to be complete in 2023. Next slide, please. A little bit about Euclid Avenue Bridge. The bridge over I-10 is being rebuilt in phases to widen its footprint to accommodate the express lanes. The first phase was the demolition of the east side of a bridge. This occurred in 2020, and it was open to traffic in March of 2022. All traffic at that time was shifted to the new portion of the bridge to allow for the west side of the bridge to be demolished. And this occurred during nighttime hours just a few days ago on the evenings of April 29th and 30th. Crews continue to remove portions of the bridge, footings, and walls. And once this work is done, construction will begin on the new bridge on this west side and is expected to take approximately 7 months. Next slide, please. This picture, as you can see, it's cut up in two. It was taken during demolition. On the bottom portion of the picture, there are 6 excavators with hammer attachments removing the bridge. These work in conjunction with each other to methodically remove and break portions of the concrete. The top portion of the picture shows the recently completed portion of the bridge. How cool is that? Next slide, please. So this is why we're here today, to talk about the westbound I-10 on-ramp and things associated with this closure that will occur on Euclid Avenue. So the westbound I-10 on-ramp is scheduled to close on May 20th at 9 p.m. for approximately 7 months. The closed on-ramp is right here in red with the yellow circle around it. We need to close this ramp to construct a retaining wall along the on-ramp, and crews will be working both day and night shifts to complete this work. And again, the work is expected to take approximately 7 months. Next slide, please. What's new is how motorists driving southbound on Euclid Avenue and access from 7th Street, etc., will access the existing westbound I-10 on-loop ramp through a new protected left turn lane. And the green line shown here is the new access point. The yellow dot is a new traffic signal that will allow motorists to turn left and access that loop ramp. This change is also scheduled to occur on May 20th at 9 p.m. Of course, motorists can always choose how they access westbound I-10. You might want to click one more time, Cynthia. Using an alternate route shown here in purple with the yellow arrows. This route, this detour route, would be west on 9th and then south on Mountain to enter the westbound I-10. For motorists traveling northbound on Euclid Avenue to access westbound I-10, there are no changes. That is shown here in blue, again with the yellow circle around it. There you go. Next slide. So with this new left turn lane for southbound Euclid Avenue motorists or 7th Street motorists, those who need to access this loop on-ramp, we need to provide a lane leading up to that new left turn to access the westbound I-10 loop on-ramp. This lane, it's shown here in the dotted green line with the yellow circle around it, will begin at 8th Street and extend to 7th Street. And all lanes on Euclid Avenue will be moved or shifted to the west, which is shown here right above 8th Street in orange. This new left turn lane to access the loop on-ramp will be in place again on May 20th at 9 p.m. Next slide, please. So residents on Euclid Avenue between 8th Street and 7th Street will start to see crews out on the street. We need to restripe the street. We need to put some signage up, and all of that will start very soon. These signs, which will go up in the neighborhood, will have information about parking restrictions, including start dates and times for the parking restrictions for this new left turn lane, etc. We do anticipate that on-site parking will be eliminated on southbound Euclid Avenue, shown here in the blue dotted line with the yellow circle around it, for approximately 7 months. And please know that there will be absolutely no changes to residents' mail, delivery, or trash services while this on-site parking is eliminated. Next slide, please. So now a little bit about how you can get some additional information and be in the know before you go. The next couple of slides focus on our community outreach and tools that are available to help you navigate construction. Here's a snapshot of some of the collateral that we share. On the far left is a community notice that in fact we just distributed to the residents on southbound Euclid Avenue between 8th Street and 7th Street about the parking restrictions and the new access to westbound I-10. The center examples are examples of recent social media posts. And on the right is a screenshot of what our weekly construction alert looks like. We, if you don't receive the weekly alert, just know that we send these out on Friday afternoons, and they include the upcoming week's construction activities so that you are prepared for the week ahead. They are jam-packed with valuable information about key activities, about bridge work, freeway lanes, on and off ramps, local streets. And then at the bottom, and Cynthia, maybe just point your pointer to the gray part with the green boxes. You can see that we also have city-specific construction sheets. So if you live in Montclair, you'll want to click the Montclair box, and you can get more information about what exactly is happening in construction in and around the city of Montclair. So those are some neat ways to get information about what's happening in your neighborhood. Next screen, please. Next slide. So as we discussed today, this project has a lot of different operations and activities being performed daily, and closures are required. It's the nature of construction. So we do encourage you to plan ahead and allow extra time to reach your destination, or seek alternate routes to possibly avoid the construction area during this time. Here are a few screenshots of the project's Google map, which you can access at gosbcta.com/I10 corridor. All real-time closures and detours can be found on this map. You can access it from our website. You can download it or bookmark it on your computer or your mobile phone, and it will always provide you with the most updated real-time information on any closures and detours that are occurring throughout this project corridor. It's pretty simple to use. When you click on an individual icon, so one of the red circles with the white X through it, or one of the brown circles with the construction worker in it, additional details appear, and it identifies the specific closure, the time, the recommended detour, whatever may be most convenient for your commute. Next slide, please. So our team and our project information can be found in a variety of ways, and our information across all of the platforms in which we share information is always going to be consistent. So if there's a closure, we want you to be prepared. If there's a major activity near where you live, we want you to be informed in advance. But we do offer the information in a variety of ways to ensure that you can select the platform that works best for you. We have a robust website, gosbcta.com/I10 corridor, where you can sign up to receive those weekly construction alerts that I talked about. We offer a text alert program to receive alerts directly to your mobile phone, and you can text I-10 express lanes to 888-525-1021. We are also very active on social media, and we encourage you to follow us at GoSBCTA on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. You may also get to see some bonus footage of behind the scenes construction activities if you check us out on social media. So that concludes our presentation. I know it was pretty quick, but we wanted to get this information out to those of you who are interested in accessing the westbound I-10 from Euclid, and those of you who may live on Euclid Avenue between 8th and 7th and understand more about the parking restrictions. A quick reminder is that if you would like to ask a question, you can click on the Q&A button down at the bottom of your screen. Again, if you're joining us with the call-in feature, you can send us an email to info@gosbcta.com. So I think with that, Scott Baskin, as we introduced earlier, is our design manager for SBCTA on this project. He is joining us to help answer some of your questions. And I will ask Tina if there are any topics or themes that you've been seeing in the Q&A that we might want to share with our attendees.
Thank you, Sarah. We do have quite a few questions that we've received. Let's start with, can we learn more about the Euclid Avenue Bridge construction, and will the second half of the bridge take as long as the first half?
Great question.
Well, good evening. I will take that question. This is Scott Bassican. It's a very good question. So as Sarah pointed out earlier, the Euclid Avenue Bridge replacement is being performed in phases. And there's a couple reasons for that. First reason is to allow traffic to continue to flow and not have a significant impact on the residents of Ontario and the motorists. But as noted, when we demolished the east side of the bridge, some people look at a bridge and say, well, it's there to have traffic and pedestrians and bicycles go across. Unfortunately, there's more to it. Most of those bridges, including Euclid, is filled with all the utilities that run up and down Euclid Avenue, such as, gas, water, power, communications, telecommunications, etc. So before we take a bridge down, we have to get all those out of there and relocate them so that we don't lose those services to the residents of Ontario. So those were temporarily relocated, and when we reconstructed the new bridge, all of the utilities in Euclid, not just on the east side, but also the west side, had to get relocated in the east side of that bridge. So it was a very significant effort by all of the third-party utility companies to get all the utilities to fit in the bridge and everybody to coexist together and make certain that we met the requirements of Caltrans and that we don't have any issues during earthquakes. So that was the reason that the eastbound bridge took quite some time to build. Now, as pointed out, the west side is going to be done in roughly 8 months, which is significantly less than what we experienced on the eastbound, because we don't have to put in any utilities. All the utilities are out of the way. So therefore, construction will be at a much faster pace.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Scott. Tina, are there any other questions that we've received?
Yes. Can we share more about the Google Maps and how often is it actually updated?
Such a great question. So the Google Maps are literally in real time. And Tina can attest to this. This morning, there was a closure that needed to be taken on the I-10. And it was at 5 o'clock this morning. And so the Google Map was updated as soon as we heard from our team that they needed to take a closure. We updated the Google Map, and we did that so that folks coming home from the night shift or motorists about to leave for their morning commute knew exactly what was going on their commute, and they could check that all through the project Google Maps. So it really is a 24/7 tool and a very, very useful platform to help you plan your drive.
Thank you. The next question is, why does the ramp have to close? Can the work be done without any closures?
I'm going to hand that off one to you, Scott.
All right. The short answer is yes. The work could be completed without a complete closure. As pointed out, we intend to close the ramp for 7 months to get this construction done. If we don't close the ramp, the contractor is going to be, he has to adhere to the contract closure requirements, whereby he will be working at night. Short story is that it would take close to an additional year plus the 7 months that we're asking for now in order to build the retaining wall along the current on-ramp. So it was a matter of being expedient and reducing the impacts to the residents of Upland and Ontario, and also making it safer for the residents of Upland, Ontario through the construction zone.
Great, thank you. Our next question is, what will the Euclid on-ramps look like once construction is complete? Will there be any changes? What can the motorists expect?
The overall operational geometrics of the interchange, once we're completed out there, will be the same as what you experienced before construction started. However, the ramps will be reconfigured to accommodate the widening, as Sarah pointed out earlier. This particular ramp, the westbound on, will actually get some improvements, as will all the ramps, because what we're doing as part of the program, part of the project, is we are also putting in standard shouldered width and standard lane widths, which improves safety and sight distance. One other key feature to this on-ramp is that there will be an auxiliary lane that will extend from the on-ramp all the way down to about San Antonio Bridge. And what that will do is it'll allow motorists to give them more time to get up to speed and to merge onto the I-10 rather than have to merge right at the end of the on-ramp, which you typically would experience on most on-ramps within the state system. So there's an added benefit there for additional safety and ease of merging onto I-10 for the motorists.
Thank you. I think this next question is going to be for you also. What can motorists expect with additional traffic signals on Euclid to get onto the freeway?
If we can go back to that one slide where we show the signals, please, and I'll kind of talk to that, if that's okay. There we go. Thank you. So if you look at this diagram here, you see the two gray dots. Those are the existing signals there at 7th and Euclid southbound and 7th and Euclid northbound. So if you're coming southbound on Euclid or on 7th Street prior to this detour being opened, you would essentially hit one traffic light there at Euclid and 7th, and then you'd be able to get on the ramp. So now, as you can see with the yellow dot there, just beyond that, the left turn, there's another signal there. And the purpose for that is obviously safety. We don't want to put in a stop sign situation because it would create significant traffic jams through there. So the additional, what I'll call delay that one could experience is that you've got one additional signal to traverse. Sometimes you'll get lucky, just like any other arterial intersection, and you catch the green and you go on through. Sometimes not. You may catch a red and you'll have to wait. The contractors, designers did a very detailed model. They modeled this whole area for this particular change that we're doing. We work very closely with the cities of Upland and with the city of Ontario to make certain that they are comfortable with this and that the traffic signal design that we put out there and the signal timing combined with the signage will not have significant impacts on traffic flow as a result of this change.
Great, thank you, Scott, for that explanation. So we are not seeing any additional questions come in at this time, Sarah.
Okay, thank you so much. So again, these are the changes that will start to occur on Euclid Avenue and the access to the westbound on-ramp. On Euclid Avenue, the changes will occur a little bit before May 20th. You'll see some signage going in, you'll see some striping going in for the new left turn lane. And then access to that westbound I-10 on-ramp will be closed on May 20th, and access to the westbound I-10 loop on-ramp will open on May 20th at 9 p.m. So we can always be reached at info@gosbcta.com. or on our hotline at 877-55-SBCTA. Again, we post about all of our closures and detours on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Go SBCTA. And we are so appreciative that you joined us tonight to learn about these changes. And we hope all of you have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.